On the escalator again.
Leave it alone.
What?
Comics.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
TV and movies. Wrestling. Music.
We are just getting started!
Finally, a podcast about things you actually care about, hosted by a couple of guys who actually care about those things too.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Maybe a little too much.
Yes, that's awesome.
The talented one, Chris Machete.
That no-talent ass clown became famous.
And Brenton, you know, that guy from your other favorite podcast.
I liked it. I was good at it.
So grab onto the handrail and don't let go.
There's a little boy caught the escalator!
This is the Kids on the Escalator podcast. Woo! Here's CM and BD.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Hello. I got me some shitternet here in Spain, I think. I don't know. It's not amazing. There's some delays. Hopefully our viewers don't feel that delay or whatever. But yeah, these hotels don't like the streaming, huh?
Bastards.
They give you just enough to watch Netflix, but they don't give you enough to actually broadcast. So
It's funny. Before we started here, there was a lady in there that was helping you with stuff, and I didn't know if she could hear me or not, and I was going to start going, "Hello, I'm trapped over here. Help me, hello." Yeah, I figured, it's here. She wouldn't have heard me.
No, I had the headphones in. She was helping with the internet.
Next time you got to I make sure there's a speaker on, and I can go, "Hello, I'm trapped over here. Help me."
I've only got a handful more days out here. Yeah. Geez,
and then you're going back home?
I'm home for a couple of days, and then I start again. But yeah, I go home on the 17th, and then I'm back up on August the 5th again. But got a couple weeks home when I get back, and some camping and just a few things, trying to get out and see that family I have.
Yeah, sounds good.
That I've been away from for a long time.
Yeah,
I love it. I love Europe. I got to tell you, but man, it's anarchy over here right now, as I've touched on before with the travel and everything. But it's nuts.
Not good.
Had a hell of a day today, though, which is great. I have been trying to get to here forever.
You want to be the guy in that surfboard right there.
I do not.
Down. For people who can't see this, it's a guy on a massive wave, and Brent wants to be the guy on the tiny yellow surfboard.
I do not want to actually surf and die, but I have definitely. It's a sight to behold. If you're listening, you're missing out. But in Nazaré, which is about an hour and a half north of Lisbon, Portugal, there is this incredible beach town, like any typical beach town, but between November and February, they get 100-foot waves. And it's just insane. And they have this whole display here of like all the people that have actually accomplished it and everything. And that green surfboard you see there is in the middle is the guy originally that broke set the record for the biggest surf. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a surfing guy, but I'm just like, that process is, it was fascinating to me that would actually exist somewhere in the world. Like, you keep hearing about Hawaii and San Diego and all these places, but it's like, no, this is the place where every surfer in the world comes to try to tackle this wave. So yeah, I got to hang out there today. Cool. Got me a little took a drive and parked. Nice. and
you're
got
up on top of looks like you're on a big pier building there.
Well, it's this one here. You see that little light tower?
Yeah. There? Oh, there it is right there. So you're about to get engulfed by a huge wave.
Yeah. So you can see everyone just kind of hangs out there, and they kind of look at that. And I made the little venture up today to check it out. But isn't that incredible behind me how it's like completely flat?
Spain looks decent. For viewers who can't see that, it is a nice place. It's envision Point Break times like
it's absolutely my favorite, like one of my favorite countries in the whole world. Well, actually Portugal. That's Portugal. I'm in Spain now. I drove.
Oh, right. Yeah, I hear good things about Portugal.
Today. It's very Canadian feeling and stuff. And
I hear it's very Canadian feeling, very musician friendly. There you go.
We had a big show there last night. We had a big show there a couple nights ago.
That's the gig. It's Imagine Dragons again.
So that's Imagine Dragons, but we played. Metallica played the night before us.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the
running off their Stranger Things success of Master of Puppets.
How about that?
Yeah,
it's crazy. So it's very interesting time for them, and they've got all these new fans now, which is cool.
And it's the 80s, dude. The 80s is coming back big time. The 80s is coming back. It's funny because when I talk, as I mentioned before, when I get my group of students together, they start to talk. They start. If you grew up in the '80s, it's like wow, and they start asking me all these questions. And some of them are really stupid, but some of them are really like, wow, okay, well, here's what I was. Yeah, no, we didn't have helmets when we rode our bikes, and we used to build these huge ramps, and it's cool. That's how we did things.
Samantha said to me the other day, I called home. We were just talking for a bit, and she leans in. She goes, "Did you know that Metallica's been around since 1986?"
Yeah.
But I'm like, they
It's actually a little earlier than that.
It's earlier than that, but I'm like, sure, Samantha, it was my first concert. What? Like, it's just funny
Watch out.
because Metallica's around, but it's on, and I have it on, but they just don't make the connection. But now it's on Stranger Things, and it's like all of a sudden a thing.
So, and it's funny because a lot of people online are sending the younger viewers, like your daughter, to Saint Anger and and some bad. Oh, you got to listen to this. Then sending them to all their worst stuff, right? Kind of protecting the holy grail of Metallica. It's pretty. And then of course Metallica's online saying you guys are assholes. Just let them listen to it. And so before that was Kate Bush, with Running Up That Hill, and she owned all the rights to that song, I believe, as well. She's made like a couple $1 million off it, I believe, since it's come back out on Stranger Things. It's actually peaking on charts around the world, which is fantastic and good for her. And the best is her and Metallica's response to this is like, this is great. Wow, great show. Way to use our song. We're behind it 100%. And what they're doing is just the show is 80s era, and they're grabbing songs from the 80s and just putting a little shine on them and using them and showing how like timeless good music can be.
What's interesting, because what's interesting about that though is that Cobra Kai does the same thing, but it hadn't quite exploded the way Cobra Kai was. Almost like they do it as a joke, whereas Stranger Things, it's more of a serious thing. But if you watch Cobra Kai, Johnny's character is incredible. His infatuation with Iron Eagle and all that 80s stuff is incredible. So, did you know Ralph Macchio is 60 years old?
That doesn't surprise me.
60.
Yeah.
So I saw a tweet the other day that was like, Kate Bush and Metallica are number one, and Tom Cruise, Top Gun's number one.
Yeah, it's the 80s again.
It's 80s. It's like whatever. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. I'm noticing that with the artwork too. We get the most responses from our stuff now that's really bright, and our colorist here, Lonnie, she likes to use really bright colors with everything she does, like 80ish. We get a lot of positive responses. So that's cool, man. I'm from the 80s, man. We both were doing these.
Yep.
So, and a new conspiracy theory that I've heard that I'm just loving is that people born 1970, 1979 don't age the same as everybody else.
People born in 1979.
1970 to 1979. Something's going on then, and we don't age the same way. You were born
76.
Yeah,
76.
so we don't age the same as other people because of something. This is just a new conspiracy theory. The pop culture, or what, the social.
Well, think about it, man. Dude, think about growing up. When we were growing up, okay, you were born, a couple years before me, but think about your uncles and the people that you knew in 1978, and you're like, man, that guy's old. He was only 34. Right? Everyone we grew up with looked like they were already 60 or in their 50s.
And back when wrestlers looked like they were just your neighbor's uncle.
You remember going to high school, coming in grade 9, and all the grade 12s had mustaches?
Yeah, and the mullets,
like,
and
they all look 20 years old already. The 25 years old.
Yeah.
Now it's like, look at these kids in the draft. They look like they're in grade 9 in the NHL draft. It's just funny, man. It's quite something, but it's quite a phenomenal thing to sort of see how it's going. And
also interesting what you should write off of, man. Hit the 80s. If you're a writer out there, you're a musician, man, tap into the 80s. You might find something.
Do you like the Killers?
They're okay. I don't think I hate them, but I don't, I wouldn't throw them on.
There's some synth pop kind of 80s vibe to that band. And I saw them for the first time the other night. And I can't believe I've missed them at this point. And I'm with you. I'm like, we know the songs. I'm not like, whatever. They absolutely slayed the other night.
They were good.
They were so good. I was like, what? Nice. I was not expecting it, man. And that's like, they've got that 80s synth kind of pop that they roll in. Yeah. And so I think they're having a bit of a resurgence because of some of the stuff. But holy shit, were they good? I wasn't expecting that. And I was like, I thought you'd dig it, actually. I think you'd dig it.
I probably would. I think we talked about this, and this is the weird thing.
Yeah.
is music does not inspire me anymore.
I had Pete Lesperance on the other day on my show from Harem
Mhm.
Scarum, right? And I'm like, we were just shooting the shit and talking stuff. And he goes, I don't listen to music. Like, I don't listen to rock anymore. Nothing's inspiring me. I just don't listen to it. And like
So
half the
yeah,
people, and that's funny
yeah,
because all I do still is listen to, I listen to
yeah.
music every single day.
I
It
know.
has to absolutely be inside me or I
Mhm.
can't function.
I
Honestly,
used
dude.
to
Like,
be that way, dude, and I bet Pete did too.
yeah.
I would constantly, like, when I got up, it wasn't the TV I turned on. I went to my record player. This was lately, like, as we like,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, man, it was during COVID, I think. All of a sudden, it was just like no, it's just nothing. Like no, I didn't want to write songs anymore. I didn't want to
Hmm.
listen to music anymore. There's just a few songs that I did want to listen to. So wait for it. It's coming. I bet you me and Peter are around the same age. It's coming, buddy. It's coming for you.
I hear you, man. But you've got a great creative. He's still writing music, but he's switched. So, like
No,
he's
no,
writing for people, and
yeah, but he said that he doesn't. He's not inspired by it. He said
yeah,
exactly what I said. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like
Well,
I have a gig coming up that we're going to talk about later on because it's for an amazing benefit.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm not inspired to play. Like I still teach guitar, and when I pick up my guitar, I like wanging out on it, doodly doodly doodly, doing some Van
yeah,
Halen stuff. But it's not as
yeah.
inspiring as saying getting the newest Amazing Spider-Man done by John Romita Jr. or reading
The
the boys
boys.
comic book. Which look at this, buddy.
Let's,
You should be
let, let me,
buying all these.
well,
They're
I'm over here.
reprints.
I will absolutely buy them when I
Look at
get
the price
home.
on these friends and true believers. 50 cents if you're not watching. Yes, 50 cents. And even on the deal on the back, it's 50 cents, man. There it is.
Mhm.
50 cents. So these are reprints, issue 7 and issue 1 of Herogasm. So, and it's
Which
a
was
little
way
different.
different. Which was way different than they pulled off in the show.
Yeah.
But which we
Yeah.
can talk about. But I
Do you have the
definitely
one
was.
picture in there of Homelander showing up to Herogasm?
No, I didn't throw any swearing in there today
Okay, no problem. Because
because
he's showing up and he's saying,
yeah,
let's beep.
yeah. I was keeping her clean today, but yeah. But
It
even though we
so
have
you
that other
notice
picture that you put in there, yeah. But yeah,
in the comic book, so Herogasm's blowing everybody away on the show, and it should be. But as you get a glimpse of in here, it's a way bigger spectrum, like more of like an island.
it was definitely dumbed down for TV, and it
Oh,
was
it needed to be.
not that it was a letdown, but I was like, well, this is no different than Succession at a nightclub, like that or
Right.
or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it just kind of had more magic to it and some funny
Mhm.
kind of stuff, but it just kind of fit within. I would say, the funny thing is, I thought that episodes 6 and 7 were two of the most insane episodes of television I've ever seen.
Mhm.
Between Herogasm and all the stuff that they were doing, it was just like, wow, I've never and Deep having to bang the octopus and then eat him, and then he's trying to get
That
his
was
girlfriend
daft.
into a threesome with the octopus, and then she's like, I don't, I'm just not doing this, and then he's
Yeah. The
talking to him,
octopus
and
was just his friend. It was Mike.
yeah, but then he's talking, but he's got the girl octopus that's
Oh,
doing
yeah, that he's banging, yeah,
that
and
he's
he's looking at the
banging.
octopus while, yeah. So let's go through what happened. There was the only thing I was going to say. Last thing I was going to say. So, friends and true believers, if you want to see what the comic book's about, they got the reprints out there from Dynamite Comics. 50 cents. I just bought one. I should have bought a bunch of these. I don't like doing that though because I like to save stuff for other comic book fans. Some people will buy these up, right, and resell
Yeah.
them and stuff like that. And I don't like doing that. Sometimes I'll buy 2 copies of a comic, or I'll get like the regular issue and the variant cover. But these are good too because 50 cents, you don't feel like you gotta like
Yeah.
baby them or anything like the originals. So but the other one, the last thing I was gonna say is the story is different from the comic books. So you can see we got the same characters, and as I was showing you, Brent, look at the difference in the Deep. Like that's a big difference right there.
Yeah, it's a big difference. He's
If
wearing
you're not watching, he has like, what do you call those old scuba helmets, Brent?
it's
What
like
do
an
you call
old,
those?
yeah, I don't know what the name of it is, but it's that old like 1930s or 40s scuba diving helmet,
Yeah, like with
you
the
know,
round
the round thing.
glass
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
front that you open up. So that's what the Deep's wearing there. So he looks way
Yeah.
different, and he's a black dude as well, I believe.
Yeah.
Starlight looks pretty much the same, and then look at Homelander.
Big chunky guy.
He's a bit of a chunky guy, right? And he's just, look at his hair slicked off to the side there,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a nerd. Like, yeah, and he's got his award there for the soupies, you know. Yeah. So it is a lot different from the comic book, from the storyline is from the TV show. So it's cool to read both of them. Now, the last thing I'm going to point out is that they did not drop the ball the way The Walking Dead did when they switched from their storyline. Now, the big thing was bringing in Gimple. I can't. He sucked. Oh man, he sucked the life out of The Walking Dead, and it's no secret. I'm not like throwing out any new news. We all know that Gimple dude just ruined The Walking Dead. They went away from the story here, but it's great. Really, really good. They did a good job. I like it.
Well, it's been renewed for a fourth season, and everyone's now
Yeah.
starting to talk about the Homelander dude getting an Emmy. I
Yeah,
thought
he did a really good job.
it's very interesting to kind of look at all the characters because, as we've discussed about character development,
Yeah,
like
we should talk about each character. Let's go at it that way.
every
So
single one of them. Yeah, go
let's
ahead.
talk about the Deep first, because so he had that girlfriend that was kind of controlling his mind and making him talk, right?
Yeah,
So he thought he'll be himself and he'll start this relationship with like an octopus. It was an octopus or a squid?
octopus. Yeah,
Octopus.
or
So
squid. Or yeah. the octopus,
he's having sex with his girlfriend and he's looking at this squid, and we think we know what part of the squid we're talking about here.
yeah.
And he's like talking to the squid while he's having sex with his girlfriend. So all the while she's just manipulating him. She's getting freaked out by what's going on. He asked her to have a menage a trois with this octopus and her. And that was basically it. All right. Herogasm, he got busted there too with this squid. But the main part of the Deep is he rose with this girl kind of through the media and everything back to where he wanted to be. And then he got busted with the squid, and it kind of brought him back down. But he's it's interesting that his girlfriend was controlling him there. And then at the end of it, she breaks up with him, and she comes out with this $1 million selling book, making him look like a douche again. So he was just starting to come back on his own. And then this girl comes in, takes advantage of him instead of him taking advantage of a girl, and brings him right back down by having this tell-all book about him, about how weird he is. So,
and but to your point, I don't.
Excuse me.
Do we think that she intended it to go that way, or once he started really going down this road with like, no, if we're gonna stay together, you gotta bang me in the octopus?
Well, I think what happened is
if he would have left that out, she probably would have stayed with him, right?
She would have stayed with him because she would have made that millions and millions of dollars just off of him. But then, it gets to a point where, like, I can't live like this. I can't live with this. This is ridiculous. You want me to have a menage on top of this?
Yeah. And what's interesting about this, and I know we're going to sum up the characters here, but just coming back, the Sopranos, for instance,
yes.
We all love every single character in the Sopranos. We love this, we love that, character development, etc. But if you watch every single mob movie, no one's happy. Not even the boss. The boss he's like, Tony was never really happy. He had the big house and he had everything. And none of these guys actually have anything to say. And they really touched on that in like when a guy would get shot and they'd all go to the hospital, give each other a hug and go, "Is he okay? Okay, cool." And then they'd look around and they go, "You got some pizza there? Can I have some pizza?" Like no one has anything to say to each other because they've got nothing in common, and because they all really don't like each other and they're all disbanded. So the boys is the same thing. To me, they're all kind of gathered around, but no one really likes each other. They kind of like the Frenchie fights with and Eminem are friends, but they kind of fight. The Butcher's kind of like no one really likes them. Like no one really actually wants to hang out with anybody.
Well, I think at the end of it, though, they kind of do, right? I don't know. That is a good point because they did have that going into it. Yeah. But I think at this point, and now they brought Starlight into the team at the very, very end, right? Mm-hmm. We're rushing ahead a little bit.
So go ahead on a character.
Let's go to Black Noir, though. Let's go to Black Noir, though. Wow. So it turns out Black Noir is a black dude, and he was back in the day with Soldier Boy. So this would have been what? Yeah, there he is there. So this is back in the 60s this was going on?
Yeah.
All right. So the TV crews and everything, how, they're making celebrities out of them. They wanted Black Noir to start doing TV shows and stuff. Well, Soldier Boy didn't like this, and he beat the crap out of him in front of all of his friends. And that ended up him headlining a charge to take Soldier Boy down.
Yeah.
The jealousy between Soldier Boy and Black Noir wanting to be in the TV shows. And Soldier Boy said, "No, I'm the only one that's going to be in TV shows." So he beat the crap out of Black Noir in front of everybody. But we get to see this back in a cartoonish kind of form as we get this. You get to, again, this is great character identification, showing he's got the brain of a child, basically. You know what I mean? Possibly from brain damage after he got the crap beat out of him. You know what I mean? That's probably
But
what
it's
happened
also
to
it's
him.
also a social and psychological thing from the standpoint of like we all had imaginary friends growing up, I think. So to your point
But
about being a kid,
toys that talk to me, man.
yeah, but I'm saying like you've got
Weirdo.
what's that?
You weirdo. No, I'm joking.
Well, you had toys to talk to, but I'm
Yeah, I
just
said
saying
my toys talk to me.
but it's like yeah, but you have this kind of like he had these were his ego builders. We got you, buddy, and they're all little comic book characters
Well,
like
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Hanna-Barbera,
Like, so it
right?
almost seems like though he's like, the one
Yeah.
guy stutters. We're gonna get you to where you want it. And then he got the crap beat out of him so badly.
Mhm.
By Drummer Boy there, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Holy cow! Or not Drummer Boy, by
Soldier
Soldier
Boy.
Boy.
Yeah.
So we don't know what, but then, so then Black Noir, he hides it first. He rips the tracking device out of him because he knows that Soldier
Yeah.
Boy's going to just destroy him. And then he ends up saying, no, I'm going to go back to himself. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to fight. I'm going to go back to Homelander and join
Mhm.
him. And at the last minute, Homelander like punches right through him and pulls his heart out or whatever, all his guts out. That's crazy. There he goes. I didn't see that coming, did you?
I did I did see it coming from the standpoint of like okay I thought for sure we were going to lose a main character.
Mhm.
They in the preview they did he was sharpening a knife and he's like that knife's not going to work or something. I definitely felt like it was coming down to something where someone was going to go. Now here's the thing, I didn't if they would have just had Soldier Boy in for this season and out,
Mhm.
then it would have been kind of a different feeling. But the fact that he's going to probably stick around now, someone had to go. So Black Noir was the most underdeveloped character, and they killed him off. It didn't surprise me that Homelander would be like, would
I
turn
thought he
on him.
died like more of an honorable death. Because you know what I mean, just the way they were building it
Well,
up.
it just
was
adds
cool.
more
I liked it.
layers.
I'm not,
It
yeah,
adds
no,
more
I'm
layers
not.
to
I'm
that
not. It
Homelander.
shocked me.
Yeah.
I liked it. You want
Yeah.
that, right? You want to be like, oh
Yeah.
my god. I was picturing him more going down in a big battle scene, and then was just like, oh, nope, there he goes, he's gone. So that's Black Noir, and he was out. Now, moving on to who I thought was going to be the sacrificial lamb was Queen Maeve, who is our Wonder Woman, basically, right?
Yeah.
Wow, I love her character, and the actress that's portraying her is just nailing it, man. So Maeve's had enough, man. Maeve's been through the ringer. She's watched people die at the hands of Homelander, and she was there, and she had to lie about it. She's been, criticized about her sexual beliefs. She's had to hide things. She's had people she care about get hurt mentally and physically because of her, superhero stature.
Yeah.
Being in the 7. So she's had enough. And then they kidnap her. And I thought, man, okay, first I thought, wow, they're just going to kill her off. And then in the battle, she ends up basically sacrificing herself to take out our main bad guy. And we think she's dead, but then they find her, right? We backtrack and then we find out that Queen Maeve's okay. And they gather her up, they put her in the van, and I'm just like, oh, I was stoked. I was like, all right, Maeve's alive. That's great. And she decides to go off on her own with her mate, with her girlfriend, and just live their lives. So she's right now out of the picture, leaving. So that's where we go with Maeve. What do you think of Maeve?
Well, I loved her too, and this isn't anything against her, but if they would have killed her off, I would have been fine with it. And that's not because I don't want to see her. I just thought the arc of her sacrificing herself in the end, and the fact that if spoiler alert, everybody, but if Soldier Boy did live and she died, I think it adds just extra emotion to it. Like it just kind of adds that sort of like. In which they did in The Walking Dead with like what's her name's daughter out of the barn, and you're like, oh god,
wow, that was great.
And they just pulled so much emotion out of that. I just remember that was like the most insane thing ever when that happened. And I just thought when she ended up surviving, and then her and Starlight are playing nice kind of in the apartment afterwards after they kind of had a bit of a scrap, like where she's
Starlight with who?
With Maeve, because Starlight.
Oh, Maeve, right? Yes,
they kind of fought a bit, and she's like, "You disappoint me." This is when her and the Butcher were like, "We're gonna go." I just thought, and I'm sure we're gonna get more out of this down the road, or she's gonna make another appearance. But I just kind of thought that like if they would have left her and maybe somehow they come back around at the end of season 4 that she lived, cool. But right now they wasted all that emotion with her surviving. They
Right.
wasted all that. No, and she jumps out of the building, and then you kind of have the feel good ending. That, oh no, she survived. I would have preferred her to have actually sacrificed herself to save the team, and then I think that would have pulled in something. Because then I think you could write a whole script, a whole thing around Homelander actually being upset about it because he still loved her, or
Right.
something. So
Yeah, I don't think he would,
loved
but I
it.
don't think that's in his character anymore, man. I don't think he cares about anybody but him and his
Yeah,
son.
but he did such a
Which we'll
killer
get to.
job. He did such a killer job that I honestly think that he cared about it. He was like, "Stop it! Don't do this! Stop
Yeah.
beating me up! I don't want to hurt
Right.
you! Stop it! Stop it!
Yeah.
Stop it!"
The
And
funny
then
thing is, though, is
yeah.
from what you've mentioned,
Yeah.
that's actually what the world thinks, is that she died sacrificing herself. They made a statue and everything. So
Yeah.
it's funny though that is kind
Right.
of what happened, but not right. So
Yeah.
I guess they give you both.
So there you go. There you
So
go.
that's Maeve. So Maeve, that was pretty cool with Maeve. Now, the fast dude there, what's his name?
Oh yeah. A-Train.
A-Train. Okay. Well, oh man, A-Train. So A-Train. So we get a basic a racial storyline here
Mm-hmm.
about black folks in a neighborhood where a superhero is focusing too much on their neighborhood,
Yep.
and he's not focusing on any white crime. It's all black crime, and he's overexerting his arresting strengths. You know what I mean? He's beating
Yeah.
people up. He ended up killing somebody. So now A-Train is like kind of going to the higher up, saying, "Look, let's get this guy out of there. I want to talk to him." So they bring him in. He donates money, and they bring him into the neighborhood where there's all the folks from the neighborhood in there. And I can't remember this superhero's name that they bring in. So he's a racist superhero anyway.
Yeah.
We'll say the racist superhero that comes in, donates money, and does this speaking thing, talks to all the neighborhood in this hall. And he starts getting pissed off because they're asking questions. Well, what about this guy that you beat up? What about this guy? He's like, look, you're lucky. You're lucky that I'm here to protect you. And they're like, well, why are you only focusing on our neighborhood? And he's like, because this is where the crime is. And they're like, what do you mean this is where the crime is? There's crime everywhere else. And he's statistics. And then they start throwing things at him. He accidentally hurts a whole bunch of people there from the neighborhood. And A-Train's brother, he puts him in a wheelchair so his legs don't work anymore. So A-Train meets up with this dude again at the Hero-gasm when shit's hitting the fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Soldier Boy's taking out basically everybody. And oh man, A-Train grabs him. Imagine being dragged behind an airplane on the ground, I guess, something real fast. Holy
awesome.
shit. And he just drags him across the ground. But then his heart gives out on him.
Yep.
Well, guess who he gets a heart from?
Yep.
The racist guy that he just killed. So that racist superhero who A-Train killed and crippled A-Train's brother gives his heart up for A-Train to survive. Now A-Train's back to normal now. He can take the V. He can keep being the fastest man alive. But A-Train's brother is now crippled. And he wants nothing to do with A-Train.
Mm-hmm.
There's A-Train right there. Boom.
And
what are your thoughts on that?
There's more. Well, I love how he killed him. I thought that was killer. And then the nice switch with him actually getting the heart as the that he's got to live with this guy inside him now, which is kind of interesting. And how that was delivered to him from the assistant.
Yeah.
Where she's like, and then you got his heart, and now you're gonna live. And he's like, what the fuck? But
and of course, the race story and the racist. The public thinks the racist went down just fighting.
He's my least favorite character, but
there's a reason for that.
You know what I mean? And but it's just like, there's more there's more development, and he's also the first he's the first soup that you're introduced to in the book because he takes out Huey's girlfriend.
Oh, A-Train. Oh, I thought you were referring to the racist.
No.
Yeah, A-Train. A-Train's story is.
He's the first one you're introduced to.
No, I know. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, But as far as I think he's the least developed of all the show, which tells me that there's way more to come for him. But
I think what we're getting from him is struggle. You know what I mean? Like he's had to struggle and cheat just to stay in there, and now everything's kind of hitting him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's seeing what happened to his neighborhood where he grew up. He's seeing what happened to his old family. He's seeing what happened to his brother, and it's just being covered up. And so we'll see a new A-Train probably, which will be. So yeah, we're probably going to see a new A-Train coming in.
I'd like to see more from him in some capacity, but he didn't do much for me the whole way. I liked how he
Right.
killed the guy.
Hmm.
I think he's a little bastard because he ratted out he ratted out Starlight and everything because everyone's trying to suck up to Homelander,
Yeah.
and it's like so
Yeah.
yeah.
So moving on to Starlight then. Wow, it was hard to keep up with her character in this, I found. She was like mad at Huey, then she was okay with Huey. She was mad at Homelander, then she wanted to kill Homelander enough to maybe save Homelander so he could fight Soldier Boy. And I got lost with where, and then at the very end, if she was super powerful, she had
Mhm.
this total power upgrade, right? And she quit. So she was basically fighting her battle online with her online media because her influence was so strong. So she was
Mhm.
trying to flip the tables on the government there and Vought, flip the tables on Vought, flip the tables on Homelander, and bring them down via online stuff. Excuse me. But behind I couldn't really keep. Could you keep? I couldn't keep up with her. And then she got a power upgrade, and it was a huge fight with her at the end. That's kind of my story of her. What did you get out
Well,
of her?
I think she's the most developed character, and
Mhm.
what I say by that is I also think that we are in for a very tragic ending for
Yeah.
her because
Mm,
they're the one they're building like between her and Huey,
right.
something's going down that's going to pull emotion out. They're building
Mhm.
that relationship to a very
Well, yeah, because that's what I mean,
tragic
right? It
end.
was like,
They're
sh
they're building it to a very tragic end, and how what's going to pull the most emotion out if she goes,
Mhm.
not Huey.
Right.
So something's going to happen because of him or something. I think that I think she struggled with her superheroism from the get go because
Well, because of her mom too,
her
right?
mom,
Because her
right? So
mom was just like,
I think she's been reluctant. I think Huey's kind of given her permission to be that person and be a good person. I think she struggled with the spotlight. I feel the most like I understand her the most because I really think that
Mhm.
she's like a part-time superhero that's also extremely powerful, but not as powerful as Homelander and not
Mhm.
as powerful as Soldier Boy. So she's always going to be third or
But now it
fourth.
looks like she's got an upgrade, right? So we don't know how powerful
Yeah.
now she can fly, so
Yeah.
that's interesting.
I
Yeah,
dig
I
it.
just
I
couldn't
dig it.
follow her story. Like, I love her character and everything, and I get
Yeah.
it, but maybe it was just because there was so much other stuff going on, and she just got lost in the shuffle on this one a bit, but it's because when I'm looking back, I'm not thinking of a lot of Starlight highlights, whereas, like, I can think of one for all these other
Sure.
characters I've mentioned here. So that's my only like, a great character, no, I just think maybe there's so much going on, they had to kind of put her on the back burner a bit here, is maybe my
Well,
thought.
two things that she's either going to die tragically and it's going to be this is how you go through the whole thing of like Star Wars and then it
Mhm.
ends up being, they spend those three things about Luke, but then
Right.
we just did this thing and it's like, well, maybe this is the whole thing's been about Leia, but then they
Mhm.
did the whole thing with Ray and it was like, oh, maybe this is actually all about Ray.
Yeah, yeah.
And so with her, it's kind of that same arc where it's like, maybe this whole thing's about Huey in the end
Mhm.
or something.
Yeah.
Maybe he becomes the anti-hero like in the end at the cost of her, or this whole
Mhm.
thing ends up being about Starlight,
Yeah.
and
Well, she
so
seems to, yeah, I don't know, man. The way they're amping her up, it almost seems, and it seems like a female is always taking out the baddie, right?
yeah.
It's almost like they're amping her up to fight Homelander, man. It's pretty wild. Pretty
Either
wild. So, and
that
then
or
moving,
she's gonna go Targaryen like in Game of Thrones the Game of Thrones, so you're not gonna ever watch the show. So or she's gonna just get plain evil. She's gonna
right.
switch.
We'll see. We'll see. So let's moving on to Homelander, everybody's favorite. Wow. So I could, his ride you could follow. He went from, so he lost it in front of everybody. So this is if you don't know anything about the boys, you're not going to understand what I'm saying anyway. So
Mhm.
everything's about social media. He dropped in points so badly because he's talked the way he wanted to talk, and it was a
Mhm.
lot of hatred. I am strong. Yes, there
Yeah,
people are going to die, but you're lucky I'm here,
yeah.
right?
He
So
is an unbelievable
so
character.
he goes through this, right? Yeah. So he goes through, and then going down. But then it turns around that, whoa, people really liked it when he talked like that. Uh oh. Uh oh. So we're seeing him being a little more himself, a little more racist, a little more pushy, like a bully. And people are starting to rise up and agree. Now we're starting to see the left and the right, and they're starting to really. So now, because this is the other thing I was going to mention, Brent, is now we're seeing yellow against the blue. the color of Homelander against the color of Starlight. Okay, so it's almost like we got the two sanctions rising up, and that's what I'm thinking is possibly going. That's why I think they're going to overpower Starlight so she can fight him. Maybe her and help. But anyway, so Homelander rises up in points, but not the way he should. What he's done is he's rising up in points online, but divided everybody. So the people who think that violence and being a bully is good are following Homelander, and the ones that don't, are that we should all get along, are joining the Starlight kind of team.
Here's the okay. Keep going. Yeah.
Well, so if you want, look, because this comes in twos, because then we got to talk about how he picks up his son and they start their bonding. So if you want to talk about that so far, do you want me to keep going?
So so let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen is pulling from the headlines.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if The Boys goes there. I don't think so. I think The Boys probably has the actual series itself, the comic book series. You'd have to dive in a little bit more. I'm assuming it's little stories, but there's so much Trumpism in this last episode, with him killing you lived hard, whatever. He kills the one guy with the laser, and then the one guy's like, yeah. And then his kid floats down from the sky. That's Trump inciting January 6th. And that's little Trump Jr. flying in from the sky. So they have absolutely touched on the headlines of the current world and incorporated it in. It's absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely
Trump.
Definitely.
And so to the, what do you call it? Criticism of some saying, they don't, now you're bringing real life into it, and the fun of the show is going away because
they're definitely risking that. I kind of thought, yeah. So let's get into that for one sec. One, I want to point. You mentioned that guy who first started cheering, and that was Mother's Milk's daughter's stepdad, right?
Oh, I didn't catch that. So so he's dead, right?
Yep. And then we switched over to Mother's Milk talking to his daughter and explaining why he hates the soups.
Yeah.
So there's a confrontation coming up there, right? Excuse me. So
you're right. You're right. I did miss that. I missed that. So good one.
That's all right.
I missed that. I just because he's yelling out, and the only thing I thought would have made that scene awesome is when that happened and the guy died, and the one guy went, yeah. He should have went, yeah, like he should have just did that like whole funny thing, and that would have been awesome to kind of see. But everyone, that is that is like a page right out of January 6th when Trump was like, you should go march on the Capitol, and everyone went. And that's not being political. I'm not being political. I'm saying that's what that felt like. Yeah, they're writing in. They're completely pulling from the headline. They're pulling the headline.
So Homelander, he's so. I love these kids. So he's basically Superman, right? If Superman is this, as I mentioned I think I mentioned to you before we were taping, is that this is basically a Marvel and DC mashup. Absolutely. You've got what if the DC universe was like real people?
Yeah.
Right. You got Wonder Woman, Maeve. You got Superman, who's Homelander. Like Superman would yes, Flash is A-Train. So Superman would never use his eye beams unless he has to. It's a last resort. One, it soaks him of his power. And two, you're going to just rip people apart. Homelander, that's his go-to, is Superman. So it's Bizarro, right? Which is great. So Homelander is a very needy person, the opposite of Superman, right? Superman was raised by Mom and Pa Kent on a farm. Homelander was raised in a room. So when he finds out about his son, he kills people that are close to him all the time, but he really wants to get his son. So he finds his son and he brings him into the picture, right? Because Butcher's an asshole and makes, turns the kid off, of course, Butcher's character, which we'll get to. So you get the kid now joining up with his dad, Homelander. What's the kid's name again?
Ryan.
So you got Ryan, the future, joining his dad now, and they fly in at the end together. And this is when the group are already fighting the two sides of politics, your Trump side and your other side or whatever. And somebody throws something and it hits Ryan, and that just sets off Homelander, and he just eye beams him. The worst thing that Superman would ever do, this guy just does on a whim to some protester, blasts his head off. Mother's Milk's daughter's stepdad starts cheering, gets everybody cheering, and then they show Homelander's face, then they go down to little Homelander Ryan, and he's like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, this is it. So they're basically inciting the exact same things that happened. And when I felt that, I was kind of let down. Like this, so this is me. This is new, right? What I'm watching compared to what I know, and I'm watching it, and I was just kind of like, oh, they're really going to go that route, so that. Yeah, because I liked it when Homelander was like, "Wait a minute, you're a Nazi," and what's her name? Stormfront would be talking about stuff, and every once in a while, Homelander's like, "Whoa, wait a minute, get the Aryan race." I loved that stuff. I loved it when he was like, "Whoa, no, we don't care about the color of the skin. We just want to take over." I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
But now that I guess the thing is now he's at rock bottom. The only people that will follow him are the left or the right, whichever it is in the States. I don't know how it works because we're Canadian. And now it's seeming very political, which I don't like it, seeing the people political side of it, because I don't like talking about that. I don't like seeing it on the news. And that's what it seems like it's heading towards. So to your statement on it becoming a little more like the way it is in the States, I concur with that. And as a comic book reader, I wasn't huge on that either, buddy. I'm with you. Good point.
And the other side of it too is I'm not convinced that that Homelander is going to stay the heel.
Yeah.
Like
I think could have turned in this season.
I think there's going to be a switch at some point with him because I didn't expect Soldier Boy to be such a heel. Actually, he was a bit of a prick, and
he's not in the comic book, right?
You know, and I kind of thought like if they would have killed, like if he just lasted one season, then that's fine. Like I would have been like, okay, cool, and then we can develop something out. I was intrigued by the fact that he can suck people's powers out. And I like that idea of that Homelander was freaking out because he knew that this guy could take all of his power away. But I also loved in Herogasm when they were trying to team up on him, and he was just like, enough of this shit. And he just and he took off. And so that whole dynamic was amazing. And you know how I feel about DC. So like I particularly enjoy these. It's funny because Invincible is very similar to this too.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
it's all kind of like it's just an animated version of The Boys, but in a different way.
It's a little more personal. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a really cool, like this guy is becoming fascinating. It's very interesting as a character because he looks exactly like Bradley Cooper. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit of a distraction a little bit because like, I'm just saying, he's just like, he looks so familiar with, which might've been their point of like, you know, casting him.
Well, you see the one picture I sent you can see who they really casted Huey as is the gentleman that plays his dad. What's that guy's name? And like you can see here, like it looks exactly like him right there. That's Huey. And what's that actor's name? He plays his dad. I'm just blanking on his name.
Oh yeah. Simon Pegg.
Yeah. So look at, is that not that's Huey. Yeah. So that's who he drew him out to be.
Yeah.
So excuse me. So there's how he drew them out to be originally. Mm-hmm. Here's our guys. You can see everybody. Mother's Milk in there and Butcher.
Yeah. And I you know, Homelander is going to be interesting because you know, the kid is a nice development, and I liked how he, you know, killed the mom at the end because he couldn't control his powers, and that was kind of a cool thing at the end of. But I'm hoping they don't spend a shit ton of time in season 4 on that. I wouldn't mind, you know, I think the kid's going to get kidnapped or something, and then Homelander's going to freak out.
Right.
Because they got to write these things like they're not going to get picked up. So they have to write some kind of confrontation in each one that's going to end the whole series. Yeah. Because they just don't know. They know they've been picked up for season 4, so they got to write it, assuming that they're not going to get picked up for season 5. So then they got to go ahead and do it.
Do the viewers really want to watch the U.S. population fighting each other because of their government? Like, do we really want to like see that story of them?
Well, they dropped a lot of modern day terms over the last couple of episodes, especially when they were like when Mother's Milk was arguing with the stepdad. Mm-hmm. And that's a page out of every single Walmart in America. 2 guys arguing over a mask or a mandate, and that's exactly what that was. So I'm hoping they'll ease up a little bit on that.
Yeah, let's move on from that and get back to the nitty gritty of the fighting and the super villains that are created, which would be good. So Butcher. So let's do the boys, kind of split up into groups here. So you had Butcher and Huey taking the V. And they were dosing up. Huey could like teleport and was invincible kind of thing. And
which you didn't like. You didn't like this part of the story.
Well, it turned out that they were only supposed to take it twice, or else it was going to. So I like that because I thought, come on, really? And there's where he says, "Oh nope, there's the line. They can only be a superhero twice." Or so Butcher's like, we'll get to it, but so they were taking and Butcher was just like Homelander, basically. He had the eye beams. He was strong. So they were going out. They brought in Soldier Boy and convinced him, we'll help you find your old group of folks that you can kill who screwed you over in the day if you come with us and help you find this new guy who's running things. Homelander, who's just like you. He was actually your replacement. You should hate this guy because once you get rid of him, you'll be back to where you want to be. So you got Huey and Butcher teaming up with Soldier Boy, and they're going after Homelander. So again, they take the V, and you got to watch it. You got to watch the fight scene, see what's going on. And as I was saying, so meanwhile, Starlight's not liking this. I don't know. She was kind of in and out of the story. Mother's Milk, he wasn't liking this either. And Frenchie and Kimiko, they had their own adventure because Kimiko lost her powers, got her powers. Again, you didn't really we don't even really need to discuss that. So the huge fight scene is your money shot here because they almost have Homelander down and beat, right? But he gets out of there and he escapes through Herogasm. We can't even talk about Herogasm because, man, this is not a pornography station.
Well, it was minor. It just went to that 6 and 7 discussion that I said about them.
We're basically talking about a gangbang, so we really can't get into details of what's going on in there, right? That's another show.
For all the hype,
another program.
Yeah, for all the hype for it, it's just a minor part of the season. Like it was just a little bit of a scene in there, but it's not as big. Different
people don't get different responses from things because my wife was pretty like. No, she didn't want to watch. There's a lot of people shrinking down and going inside of places.
That was funny though. That was
there's a lot of that going on, and then shrinking back up, all gooey and wiping it on. And mother's, oh my god, what is that?
I just thought that was witty. Just thought, how can we write something?
I think me and you are just a little immune to some of this stuff because we are like, we're males as well, but we grew up in the 80s, so we're not really grossed out by stuff like that. But Lonnie was out. She's like, I'm out. she didn't dig that.
It was funny to me. It was just
it was.
Well, you know what? If I didn't know it was coming, no pun intended, but you'd said that they're gonna probably do this in this season, and I was like, what? And you're like, it's gonna be on an island, and Homelander's gonna be banging Soldier Boy, and I'm like, what? And then all of a sudden they're like, here, storyline. They're like, Herogasm's coming, and I'm like, all right. And then it was basically no more restricted than a Scream movie, really, with the exception.
What it reminded me of? Well, it reminded me of a scene from Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
But with superpowers. So it was kind of funny. But I'm saying to go into detail about all the funny little things and the different ways they were doing things, that's a different podcast. I don't know who would I guess whose podcast on the network would I guest on to talk about that kind of detail? We probably don't have one.
No, I don't think we have one on the show.
There's no rated RXX.
I don't believe we have one.
That's fine. Where do I talk about cartoon pornography? Moving on. So the battle. So Homelander escapes. Finds his boy, and then we have another battle between them all. We get
at the end. We get but Maeve and Homelander are fighting, and Soldier
Maeve
Boy
comes into the mix. So it's like the same fight again with Butcher and everybody, and then. It looks like Maeve sacrifices herself, but she doesn't. Soldier Boy gets caught. They put the gas mask back on him, put him back in his Captain America sealed chamber.
Yeah.
So he's Captain America, right? Like it's so funny. And then Maeve, who is Wonder Woman, she grabs her girlfriend, and they take off and hide somewhere. And everybody thinks Maeve's dead. So we leave it off at that. Butcher's going to die because he took too much of the V, which is where I was saying that. So this is okay. So there's your payoff from the V.
Yeah.
He's taken so much. He's got black oozing out, and the doctor says you basically got a year to live. Huey's coughing up black stuff. He hasn't been to the doctor. He's not privy to it because Butcher lied to him and told him that everything's going to be fine.
but ends up protecting him in the end by punching him out. So he
Oh
won't take.
yeah. But I'm just
So he
saying,
won't
like
take the
that.
V again.
He's such a.
What did you think of this? Okay, go ahead. Sorry,
So
I got.
the other thing that we got in here, the last thing I can really think of that really impressed me was our back flashes on Butcher that were
Yeah,
really cool when they showed him younger with his
yeah.
brother, and just how douchey his dad and how douchey Butcher was and how he's always been. Decent.
Well, a byproduct of his dad, but then how he wants to protect Huey.
Mhm.
And in the end, Huey's like his little brother, and so there's just some really great stuff, and even the Kamiko Frenchie thing. I think that's developing a little bit. I actually expected Frenchie to go down in this season.
Mhm.
In the end, I just thought he did so much for her
Mhm.
that I thought they were building towards him having a pretty untimely death because of and like
Yeah.
she loses her powers, then she wants them back, then she gets them back, but she can't protect him and he dies. Like I just thought,
It was
wow,
cool. It was again, but it was just
yeah,
it was so you get stuck on what's gonna happen to Homeland, or it's just you're waiting because you know it's the end.
yeah,
If it was just like a normal episode,
yeah,
I probably would have been a little more into that, but I was so into this
yeah.
battle between and
Mhm.
because it's like Butcher's talking to Soldier Boy and he's getting an angle. First, Huey
Yeah,
got an angle on Soldier Boy and was like, "Oh,
yeah.
this guy's a dick," and then Butcher's starting to be like, "Hey, wait a minute. Even if we do get rid of Homelander, I'm gonna have to deal with this guy after. So I better look for my opportunity to take this guy out at any cost, and then I'll."
And let's think about for a second, like how rad some of these guys have been written. Like the guy that he went to kill, that if you look him in the eyes, it's like a
Oh
Medusa thing. If you
yeah,
look him in the
Mesmero.
eyes, yeah, you go to sleep. That's it. You're in a nightmare for and
Wow.
so what a great idea that was. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And that's basically a minor Medusa. Don't look him in the eye. If you look him in the eyes, it's over. So
Mhm.
we as growing up with the Medusa, because the new kids don't have Medusa, they don't have any reference. But us growing up with Medusa and the Clash of the Titans and all that stuff, it's like, fuck, don't you look at her eyes. Don't look at that
Yeah,
guy's eyes. And then you
so
see his
cool.
eyes pop into the screen and
Mhm.
Butcher's out, and you're like, amazing. You
Yeah,
know,
really decent touches. Yeah, really, really awesome heroes slash villains in the
Huey's
story.
like, I promise I'm not going to kill you. Or I
Yeah,
promise you're going to survive. Everything's great. And then Soldier Boy takes the guy out. It's just like,
yeah.
it was pretty, it was pretty cool.
Mhm.
I think they could have had some fun with like that Soldier Boy's group being like 40 people. And so we spend the next couple of seasons of him just trying to track all these people down and coming up with cool
Right.
things. But okay. So what are your thoughts on Soldier Boy then?
It was cool. I loved it all. I thought it was great. I give the whole series I really can't complain about anything other than just some of the side storylines were a little distracting just because I was so into the main one. But as a
Mhm.
whole, I give it like it
Well,
was it as good as
we're
Obi
three
Wan?
seasons in now, and we've covered
Yeah,
a lot of different ground.
man. Like I'd
That's
give it
you know,
4.5 Deaners out of 5. I think it's
there we
really
go.
good.
Yeah,
Really good.
I think there's some room to move. I was expecting a few more kill offs, and I would have been satisfied with that because I think the way
Mhm.
the stories are going, we need to make some room. It's like having too many
Yeah.
wrestlers on a roster.
Well,
How
also
many?
the political way it was ending that we
Yeah,
kind of that people are living and we've had enough of seeing in the
yeah.
news. So that's what would bring it down a half for me. But it was just at the end there, so I'm hoping
Mhm.
that we're gonna maybe even go like a year ahead and something happened and they don't have to go through it. But
Yeah,
anyway,
there's something like that. I'm living at around 4 Deaners right now because I just Black Noir cool. I would have and this isn't a thing on Maeve. I would have been satisfied with her being killed off from that moment and sort of like enshrining her. And then you bring her back in 3 seasons from now. It's like they do. Oh, she actually survived. Holy shit.
Mhm,
As the big surprise in season 6, she actually
mhm,
survived or something. There there wasn't a super shock thing in this. I wasn't as shocked that Black Noir was killed. I just wasn't. It didn't shock me. So there was none of that like
what about his
the
original reveal, kind of like back in the
yeah, that was
day?
cool, but
Yeah.
but there was nothing particularly shocking in this season for me.
Mhm,
Even when the what's her name is going to be like potentially the future vice president, that's a nice touch. The one that can blow people's heads up. That's an interesting development because, you know, Homelander's interaction with her at one point in the season. He's like, "Don't you fucking look at me in the eyes. Like, turn that shit off."
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
blow up my brain,
And she's like, okay. And like, just the fact that she really is more powerful than him because she can just look at him and blow him up.
Mhm.
Like, ultimately. But he's still the boss. He's like, "Don't you look at me." And she's okay. Like, you know, so he's still very powerful.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so I'm living at about 4. There was a couple of things I would have liked to see, but I mean, hey, I'm in. You know, I'm in. I thought it was great. So
yeah, me too.
Good stuff.
So I was thinking coming up, as we were discussing that there's the Superman, there's the Aquaman.
Yeah.
You notice there hasn't been a Batman yet, but there is a Batman.
Ooh.
And he's called Tech Knight. Oh, where is he? There's Tech Knight right there.
This is him right here.
That's him right there. Oh, there he is. Oh, you can print that? Okay.
I just put it up for a second.
Okay, so Tech Knight can't stop humping things. I know. So he'll be in the middle of a mission.
Yeah.
And one of his teammates, male, female, doesn't matter, will be in front of him. And he'll start
banging him. Yeah.
It could be a cup of coffee. It could be a tree that looks and to his brain, it seems
Is
like
he a main character? Is he a main character in this? Or is it
dude, he's the Batman of this. He's the Dark Knight. So his name he's Tech Knight, not the Dark Knight, and he has a little guy with him, young guy with him, named Ladio. Do we have a picture of Ladio? There's Ladio, not your Robin.
Interesting.
Now, Tech Knight sends Ladio away because he doesn't trust himself. Doesn't want anything bad to happen to Ladio. So you got this Tech Knight guy who's like Batman, but he can't stop humping things. Like I'm talking everything and anything, because that's how the V is affecting him. So that would be interesting if they bring him in, and how I could see them. I don't know. There's so many stories. Excuse me. There's so many storylines I could see them doing with that. It's crazy. That is nuts.
I wonder how they determine. This is an interesting one. Interesting question. How do they determine, or when you take the V, what kind of power do you get? Is it
goes off your personality?
Is it a personality based?
I would think it is.
You know what I mean? That's very interesting because how come Huey can teleport, but it's just an interesting kind of thing. So what would
that is cool? Well, that's like mutants, right? That's like mutants kind of thing.
What would yours be?
Mine?
Yeah, would
probably be a mind thing. You know what I mean? That's what mine would probably be.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be, but it would probably be something pretty strong.
Fly. I think I'd want to fly. I think flying would be good. Cool. But the amount of traveling I'm doing, I can handle my own thing. I don't need to any airports anymore and just fly. I think that'd be great.
That'd be cool. I wouldn't mind like being able to control gravity too. I think Gravitron, gravity guy, whatever, that'd be decent.
Very cool. Well, I'm stoked, and I'm thinking that we're going to get a new season from them quicker than we did, obviously because of COVID. So I'm thinking they'll be back probably sooner than we think.
That's great
on that side. But good season, and I think you're gonna see them get some awards now. I think someone's going to get nominated for something out of this thing because there was just some good writing, and there's just too many people in Hollywood that have too much power on this thing that are now all over it. So yeah. Okay, so our buddy Kevin Smith has released the trailer for Clerks 3.
Oh yeah, can we watch it? Because I haven't seen it yet.
We're gonna watch it, and I want to get your thoughts because it's a very smart take on where they're going with it. So this is the trailer for Clerks 3. Here we go.
That's how we did it in the 90s, son!
Can't catch my breath, man.
Really? Should I try mouth stuff?
What is this, a Tinder date? Get off of me. Oh, shit.
Mr. Dante!
I need an ambulance at the quick stop.
Saved my life, man. Wish I had a life worth saving.
What are you talking about?
Sit around and watch the same movies over and over.
I always thought you could have made a cool movie.
You're right. I'm living on borrowed time. No more watching movies.
I'm gonna make a movie!
What's the movie going to be about?
It's about him working here.
Meta.
Everything in the script is something either me or someone I know said.
I'm not even supposed to be here today. Maybe Jay and Silent Bob could be characters.
Jay and Silent Bob are like C-3PO and R2-D2. They've been here since the first movie, which was the last time they were cool. But they've been with the franchise so long, they still give them cameos and put them on the lunch boxes.
Snifty Booches! Please tell me
They believe in you.
You put in that stuff you used to say about the Death Star contractors.
Get sued by Disney? No way.
Now that's what I call acting!
Take off your pants!
What the hell is this?
I added a scene where you get shot.
I'm not letting you kill me off in the third act. What if there's a sequel?
A sequel? What am I, a hack?
I think it needs more weed.
There you go.
Wow, that looks great. Wow, that looks so good.
You know, very witty, because what they've done here is obviously they wrote Kevin Smith's heart attack into the equation, but they made it Randall, not Dante.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got this thing because Clerks, Dante, it's always been about Dante being Kevin Smith, like based on Kevin Smith, right? But this heart attack is Randall, who's always been an incredible character. But the heart attack's about Randall, and then him making a movie, which Kevin Smith had the heart attack and made all these movies, and then it's basically coming back around to the making of Clerks.
Right.
So very, very smart, very, very witty, and I think it's going to be really, really, really good.
Good. And no Guns N' Roses songs. Woo, thank you.
No, they got lit. It's great. You know,
that's way better.
They got lit. This franchise is like funny to me because you introduced me to this franchise, and as we've gone through it, and you know, we're all giant Kevin Smith fans, and we've named the show after Mallrats and all the rest of it. But you know, it's just a funny. It sits right here. It speaks to us, like our gen. It just sits right here, man. Like
Kevin Smith caters to his generation, right? The Gen X. He loves the Gen Xers because he's a Gen Xer. So he's pretty much the same age as me. I think we're off by a month.
I don't think she'd ever reveal it, but I am curious if he was able to convince Stacy to come in. You know, Miss Assistant who played Caitlin on Degrassi, because I know her a little bit, but she would never reveal that. But that would be funny if he was like, come on in on this thing, and get her in, because she was, you know, Caitlin was the character in the first Clerks. That was the, you know, Caitlin Bree, right, or something like that. So, man, I love this franchise so much. I wish he would just make a movie every year about it, because these characters are so good.
Yeah, for sure. It's like the George Lucas universe, right? And again, he created these back when he was just trying to create a good movie. You know, it didn't and he did it himself. They didn't have to go through, you know, a boardroom of people like movies do these days. Different day and age, and it's good to see that he's still, you know, out there doing stuff like that. I like that. Some movie guys get to the point where they can do their own thing, and I guess.
And he's debuting it all over the world, like in individual. So he's doing, you know, he's going to the Rio and Vancouver 2 nights and a Q&A, and he'll probably do Toronto, and he'll do Montreal. He'll do all the places. You know, Randall is such a that guy's the key. You can't do this without him. That guy is just such a.
Yeah, they got all the original actors still. Like, when does that happen, man? Like,
I know.
Look at Spider-Man. How many Peter Parkers have there been? Oh my god.
I'm curious. I didn't see Jason Lee in there, and he wasn't part of the original Clerks, but you know, the View Askew. You know, maybe he'll get in there.
He has to be in there. He'll be in there. There's a few people that we didn't see in there that will be in there. I didn't see Willem in there.
No,
the big dude. He's thin now, though. I think, but
he's all cut now. Yeah, he's all cut.
That's not a schooner. It's a sailboat. Silly
you dumb bastard.
Scooter is a sailboat, dummy.
There's no Easter Bunny. Yeah, it's great. There's some great one-liners out of there, obviously, you know, and he needs to just be given carte blanche to make these whenever he wants. And I'm surprised he hasn't been given an opportunity to do, like, they were talking about a Mallrats TV show and everything.
Yeah, I guess it didn't fly.
And
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see Kevin Smith take a run at maybe 6 episodes of a really cool lower tier superhero, like
Well,
a
he did
not Daredevil
Daredevil
again, poor Daredevil, but like maybe like the Punisher or
Mm.
Moon Knight if they bring him back. I'd like to see him take a run at something like that. I think.
I wonder how deep he is on, like, he's kind of our guru about all things and stuff, but
Mhm.
can he do every little thing? Like, he did a He-Man series
Yeah,
that
well, he's
everyone's
done comic book
raving about,
series that were really good.
you
One of the
know?
best Daredevil series ever were done by him, but it just didn't
Mm.
transpose well
Yeah, it's very interesting.
because of some extra help. Some extra help with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm pretty I'm super stoked about it. That's going to be great. I love this
Yeah,
series so
and
much.
then the other just one thing I want to end with here is the whole Taika Waititi. His Thor is getting pretty bad reviews.
Oh, is it?
Well, it's I don't know. You're making it a pretty jokey situation again, and as I mentioned, you're bringing in like one of the darkest, grimmest villains ever, like the Godfather of Spawn or of
Yeah.
Venom. So I don't want to talk too much about that. I just want to go in that for a minute because he's also, with all the negative stuff coming on now, he's supposed to be getting a movie handed to him for a Star Wars movie. And apparently he asked old Padme there if she wanted to be in the new Star Wars movie. And she's like, I was already in the Star Wars movies. He's like, oh, yeah, right. Oh. Because she's in the Thor movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
That he just did.
Yeah.
So now people are really worried about that, of course, because he's not using any established characters. Apparently, he's bringing in new, which is cool. Hey, it might be great. It might be great. I'm concerned about the Thor movie, just the whole jokey aspect of it. And there's also a few gentlemen online who are saying that they hope Chris Helmsworth is fine with some of the shots of him and the way he's being used as a sex object.
Oh yeah,
because apparently it's yeah, if it was a girl, apparently it would not, there'd be a big deal about it from a couple of the people that are posting on Twitter and such.
People can settle down. Just I
know. I'm just this is what I'm saying. Like, this is the reviews that we're getting from the people online. I haven't seen it. I have no idea. So they're saying that it's too jokey. They're saying that they're showing a lot of stuff on just Thor that are kind of like sexy shots that they're not really, they're turning Thor into something he's not. And it's just another colorful, jokey ride that wasn't needed.
Well, I think people are going to be looking for a bit of a breakup from this whole thing. It's got to be good or it's going to be doomed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I loved his work on the last Thor movie, man. I thought it was freaking great. I also was a big fan of Jojo Rabbit. I actually want to watch that again soon. I got to remember that was a great movie. But yeah, his next Thor movie, I was concerned when I heard who the villain was going to be. Because if you look at the villain that he was writing for in the last Thor movie, Ragnarok, you had Lady Death, who was amazing. Kate Blanchett was Thor's sister, right? And she was really cool. And she was very extravagant and very like over the top kind of thing, right? And then you had the Collector or the Grand Gamesman, right? And he was funny. He was
Jeff
like
Goldblum, right?
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum was amazing for the Grandmaster.
He's always great.
So funny. He did such a good job with that. Okay, that really worked. Now, is this going to work with a dark villain, and with Christian Bale playing this really serious dark villain? Like this, he can't be a jokey guy.
Yeah,
that's the concern. So, but hey, who knows, man? He might come in there and just bam, nail the whole thing. Everybody's going to complain. As I say, people complain about comic book movies just so people will click on it. Because if you like it, you're going to be upset with a negative thing. If you don't like it, you're going to be happy that somebody's doing a negative spot. So that's what it is. So I'm just reporting what is being said and what I'm seeing on my Twitter feeds, and mostly my Twitter feeds I'm seeing these on.
Standing by. I mean, I'll get to the movies maybe when I get home. I haven't had a chance to really see anything, so
I'll watch this one at home. I like watching movies at home anyway. I get a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange was great at home. Something's coming out soon that I'm going to watch, but I can't remember what it was. But anyway, yeah, I'm actually going to watch Jojo Rabbit again. I want to get a shot here, and I need something to binge though.
You got to start Ozark. You got to get on Ozark.
Nah.
Dude, you'll love the writing. It's
I know I like
it's
Ozark.
so dark, and Jason Bateman is unbelievable in this thing.
I know. I've watched a bunch of it. I liked it, but I didn't like. No, I want something like
Chris, it's
like
so good.
Casino or something. I need something.
It's the character development by the time you get to season 3 is
No, I
just
know.
insane. You're
I know.
like,
I'm just not into it. Like, I know I enjoyed it. I thought the acting was great. It's just
Yeah.
not something that, like, apparently. See, I got other folks that are telling me that I should be watching Babylon 5, and I'm like, oh, geez, no, I can't do that. Like, I don't want to. Whoo, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go back.
Todd
and-
Todd is raving about this
it's an
new
amazing show.
this
But if
new,
I start,
this is the Star Trek thing.
yeah, the Babylon 5.
Well, there's the new Star Trek thing. And
Oh
Todd,
no, the new Star
like-
Trek something different. Babylon
but there's
5.
like a new series, and Todd was raving about Kearns was like, "Have you seen it yet? It's really great."
Nice.
And I'm
Well,
like,
I haven't checked that out.
and I've
don't know,
never
man.
been a big Trekkie, but I thought they did a
Yeah.
good job with the new series, and the new stuff.
I need something to binge, man. I need something or something. Yeah, I need something good to watch. Something I don't know. Not Ozark. though,
Superman
man.
and Lois.
More.
There you go.
Oh,
God, so good.
I need some suggestions from the people watching, man.
All right. Well,
Like
we'll put it
Taxi
in.
Driver or something. I need something like that, and then I'll get into
Okay.
more Scorsese movies, kind of thing, which was great, right? And what did I watch that I loved was that other one that he did with DiCaprio, Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
That was another one that I watched, and I'm just like, right on. I'm drawn.
What I watched today, I watched The Wolf of Wall Street the other day again. It was awesome.
Nice.
There's so much good stuff in there. That's DiCaprio and Jonah Hill. Oh my God, that's just debauchery. True, kind of a true story too. So there's some good stuff. I've been kind of watching some of the older stuff. I watched I rewatched Sicario and the second one again because that's some really good Benicio. I'm on a bit of a Benicio del Toro kick right now.
Nice.
That guy, like Traffic, that movie Traffic.
Mhm.
Really
Maybe I'll
good.
check
But
that one out.
Traffic is really good. Wordy, but it's the tone and the way it's shot and everything is amazing. It's just the different colors of the tones and stuff. You got an event coming up.
I do. There it is. Yay. The Zimmy Fest Orange Whip Social. So we are benefiting the lung disease there that I can't. It's letters. We can give more detail on that part of it.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is there's Timmy. So it's my buddy's Zig, our buddy Zig, and my dog Timmy. So it's Zimmy, Zig and Timmy, Zimmy Fest. Orange Whip Social. Zig's favorite drinks was Orange Whips. So it's Orange Whip Social, man. We're going to serve him some Orange Whips. We have headlining is a Misfits cover band, full makeup, full costume dude. You'll be able to, people can come up and sing a few songs if they want. Well, you just got to sign them up before. I'm putting something together. I'm just going to call it the Cult of Machetes. I don't know what to call it. I'm just going to do some songs for Zig. I'm going to do some songs for Tim, because Tim did like music, man. There's a few songs Tim dug.
Yeah.
And we have a band called Bad Sally, and we have a band called
Who's
Badger
in that?
Milk.
Who's in
Pardon me?
Bad Sally?
Bad Sally. Not I Hate Sally band. It's just some other rad dudes.
Oh, it's
And we have
another band. I
Badger
thought it
Milk.
was gonna be like a
Bad
version
Germs
of
and I
it.
Hate Sally.
Like, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Unfortunately, no. But no, these guys not fortunately, but unfortunately, because these guys are going to be great. You'll really like them. Anyway, and then we have Badger Milk, which I mentioned there. They're a hardcore band. That's Evan Rose's band.
Very cool.
So Zig would love to have Evan Rose's band on the bill, and I would too, and they are. And then we have Doug Hell opening up the show. Acoustic Doug Hell.
Excellent. So that's happening at the mansion on the 28th.
So we're benefiting. So my dog was not only a rescue dog, but he was a high needs dog. Woo.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. Yeah. So I'm going to get a better picture. That's just Wolverine there. We're working on some stuff. It's not till the end of August, right? We got lots of time. That's the beauty.
Sure.
So my dog was a special needs dog and a stray. They brought him in. They had to look after him. Had to get him fixed up. Cost a lot of money to look after him. So what we're doing is we're raising money for 3 dogs that are like Tim, that somebody is just in the goodness of their heart looking after. They have their own private company. We're going to share it with everybody. And what they do is they find dogs that need rescuing in the States, and they bring them in when they're overpopulated somewhere where they're either going to get put down. Yeah. So, wow. So you can hear I'm getting really excited about this because this is great. So this is what we're going to do monetarily for the show is we're going to get this lady some money to help these 3 dogs, man. And it's however much money we can raise for them would be great. And then they can come in, we can get them. And we're going to try and get somebody to adopt them at the show maybe, which would be another great thing, right? One of them even. And then with Zig's thing, again, I got to talk to them to see what they would like done? I don't know. I know we want to raise money for these 3 dogs that are coming in from the States. And we'll have pictures of them and everything. And then when we bring them in, when we raise enough money, we can have like a free sign for them or something like, woo!
I think
We
what
got
we'll
them
do,
out of the
I
States,
think what we should do
buddies."
too is, we're gonna wrap this season shortly with "It Came from the Basement," but I think we'll do probably a special like Zimmy preview episode.
Sure, I
and
can
we
do a few. I can do a few one-offs too if I'm because I'm home base, right? So
Yeah.
if I can do a few things here and there, and if you're free, jump on with me.
Yeah,
But
we'll bring up some pictures of the dogs that are going to be adopted or up for adoption. And we'll lead in to that and try to get some awareness leading into the show, maybe through some of our Kingston friends that are there.
yeah. Well, I would say I'll even jump on once a week just to keep that going to help out these dogs because it's funny because I feel and other pet owners will know I wish I had a picture of my dog. I miss my dog every day. It sucks. It doesn't go away.
No.
It really doesn't. And I guess it's because you can't talk to them. You can't get that closure with them where you can with a person. It just sucks, man. So I have a big tombstone in the back, this great big huge stone, and he's under there. He's in my backyard, right? Like down 5 feet. We're all safe. It's all good. And I feed the birds out there, and the ducks go to his little turkeys, and it's just great. But dude, I feel so bad. For some reason, it's just you just feel bad. Like I feel like I let him down. But he lived to be 19.
Yeah,
so
dog.
The fact
you
that I can
that
maybe
dog.
help,
you get that dog.
The fact that I can maybe help here or weekend 3 other
Yeah.
dogs just like Tim. Oh, that kind of makes me feel a little better.
Yeah.
Not that I was ever mean to Tim, but it's just that's how it is when a dog dies. It's like you feel like you let them down, like like your cats. You feel like cat at the same time, right? It's like you feel like you let them down because they look to you. They're like, you got to save me, man. It's like I can't. And you can't tell them that though. They just keep looking at you.
Oh,
like,
you know what?
"I'm
And the way,
hurting."
and when, not to bring it down, but the way Steve went out, like our cat went out, like, cats are creatures of habit, as we know.
Yeah.
So he would come, he wasn't a very social cat, but he would go and he would tuck the kids in. So he would go and like when Samantha went to bed, Alex went to bed, he'd go check on Samantha. Then he'd walk out and he'd go check on Alex. And then he would come down and hang out with me. And then when I went to bed, he'd come up and hang out and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
The day that he died, he knew like the way these cats are, we were away for a weekend or 4 days. So like my mom was hanging out with him. And when we got home, he came running down the steps, meow, 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 like pissed off that we left or whatever.
Aww.
But then
Steve,
he did his routine.
Yeah.
And then he came down to the couch and he looked at me. And then he just went, and you're like, he must have known it was coming, but he just fucking held on. Like these are cats. They're smart, man. And so that was tough. The toughest part was kids were sleeping, having to put them down and then tell them at like 3 p.m. the next day and be like, so
here's what happened last night. Yeah.
So this is what happened.
Dude.
That was tough. And the kids are like, we got to get a pet. I'm like, I'm not over it.
Yeah. Well, you're not home either, dude. That's
and he's 12.
Taylor moved in here and got a cat.
Yeah.
It's our cat now.
It's your cat now.
I'm fine with that. 3 cats. Hey, well, that's great. But anyway, so getting back to a positive note, but that's great, Brent, because this is the thing. We've all experienced this.
Totally.
So we're all going to have a chance here to help 3. And it's not just, hey, we're going to throw all this money towards this huge corporation. No, man. This is this individual that is doing this out of the goodness of her heart, off donations and stuff.
Yeah.
She's an amazing person. And so I have her on my phone here. I'll divulge more information as we go. But I would really love to raise some money to help these pets out, man.
Awesome. Well, as we get closer to the date, we'll get going, and you're going to have some more information about that as we keep rolling.
Definitely. And another, just more news here in the studio. We are expanding. We have a new art. Yeah, I have a new desk in here and a new computer drawing facility. A whole new computer setup in the corner because we're so backlogged. It's just too busy. So I'm the new colorist. So and I'm actually way ahead of the game with my drawing and inking. As you know, Brent, I'm a fiend. I'm a machine. I draw and I ink and I draw and I ink. And if I have a project, I keep going until it's done. I don't care if it's 5 a.m. I get that. I got to finish this. I got to finish this. So now we got that. So we're going to get things out a little quicker. Right now, we just finished off this huge commission involving Star Wars and the Power Rangers crossovers. It's good. It's a huge movie poster thing. It's fantastic. And then we're just starting another clothing line one. I can't remember the name. The old school clothing or something. To Toronto, blanking on it. But anyway, so just starting that one, and we're trying to get issue 4 out of the comic book. So it's great.
It's getting busy there.
Yeah, so we got a new.
As I was going to say, I noticed that you've got a new setup there a little bit.
Yeah.
Everything's
So
moved over behind you.
where it would be, it would be
over there.
The window. The window's there. This is the window. So the other side, there's a desk over there now.
Very
and
cool.
There's the laptop, and we're just waiting for the stuff. There's a big sale tomorrow, right, at Prime.
Oh yeah, it's Prime.
So we're getting
Prime Day or something.
Yeah, so we're getting. I draw the drawing tablet thing and the nice little monitor to go with the laptop computer that we have all upgraded. So yeah, stoked. So yeah, so that's great, dude. And as I say, keep your eyes open for those, Brent, and other true believers.
When I get home, I'm gonna go. When I get home, I'm definitely buying it up. So.
Dude, it's such a great read too. You'll really enjoy it. Like it's easy to read. Like the arts, you know what I mean?
Well, you told me about it years ago, but they've only been available in graphic novels at this point. At least where I was able to get them from that place in Vancouver. So
it's like, dude, take my money, right?
50 cents. Do it.
Take my money. Take my money. Even if it's a bathroom book, take my money.
That's right.
Go old school with a bathroom book. Kids won't know what that is anymore. Bathroom book. What do you mean?
I got lots of them. I got lots of them. That's where I get some heavy reading done.
Okay, man, that was good. You know what I'm going to do now? I got to do some barbecuing because I have some chicken that is going to expire in I'm counting it down.
I did about 7 hours worth of driving today, so I'm going to probably rest, and I have a show tomorrow. But this was fun.
Yeah, this was great, dude.
This was fun, and do yourself a favor and keep chasing your dreams, friends. Because
there you go.
If you got them on the list, do it. That's Kids on the Escalator for another week.
Cheers. The boys is over and done with. We'll be back with the toys and such, right?
Yeah, we're going to be back with It Came from the Basement. I've got a couple more dates left on this, and then I'm home. So we'll see you when we see you, friends. But it should be just around the corner. Thanks to our friends at Dean Blundell for having us, as always, and hosting us. And we will talk to you soon, friends. Good times.
Rad dudes.
All right.